And we're live.
All right, we are live. What's going on, champions? How you guys feeling? Listen, shout out to Facebook Nation, as we always do. A special shout out to Tava Nation, and extreme blessings to the team of possibilities, the T.O.P. Here we are again for another episode of our national, international, intergalactical, universal book club. The greatest book club in the world, highly coveted and demanded all over the world. And we've come back to serve again. And I'm so excited. I'm so delighted to share this platform with my Mastermind Alliance. Guys, today we make history as we shift to a new book. We shift to a new masterpiece, an absolute masterpiece. And before we get started, like the broadcast, I think my colleagues will echo this. Share the broadcast. Please comment, ask us questions. We are a family, we are a community. Before we get started, we're going to swing right around, starting with the impeccable, the amazing Dr. Atkins. Would you be so kind, Pastor Sean, to tell the world who you are and what you got going on?
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. What an honor it is to be on this platform tonight. My name is Reverend Dr. Shanti Atkins. I am the senior pastor of Antioch Baptist Church in the village of Harlem, the pastor with a big heart, and I am an executive director here at Tava.
All right.
Well, hello. Good day, everybody. I am Tammy Durden, Executive Pastor of New Faith Praise and Worship Center Church in Houston, Texas. I am the image maker. I help women look and feel fabulous. We transform your image into something amazing from the inside out. I am your health and wellness advocate and a director too, right here at Tava Nation.
All right now.
Great evening, everyone. I am Sharita Leon, hailing out of the greatest city in the world, New York City. I am a two-time #1 best-selling author, international speaker, the protege of legendary Les Brown, a coach, investor, and an executive director too. Well, I received that, but an executive director here in Tava.
Speak it.
Yes.
Listen, speak it. Because here's the deal. I see some comments out there. Can I give some shout outs to some of those who gave comments? Who's out there? Who showed us some love? Carrie Cox, blessings to you. Salute and greetings. Pastor Sandra Reeves, blessings to you as well. Thank you so much for joining us. Val, we always can count on you, Val, for being here and showing support. Shelly Felton, another one of our top champions for participation. Listen, ladies and gentlemen, you saw Sharita speak her next rank into existence. Let me tell you something. Tava Nation is on fire. And hear me clearly. The book that we're about to read together over the next week or 2 or 3 weeks, is paramount. It's necessary. It is the prerequisite for your advancement as an entrepreneur, for your advancement as a team builder, for your advancement as a leader, as someone who's going to be a diamond and a double diamond, a triple diamond, a crown ambassador. You're going to need this book here. The Masterpiece, How to Win Friends and Influence People by Dale Carnegie. I'm telling you something right now. I know this is necessary. That's right. What's up, Pam? Because here's the thing, and we're going to get right into this. We have to master the art of diplomacy. We got to master the art of flexing our personalities to accommodate those that we are here to serve. We got to master the art of being savvy, diplomatic, and flexing our personalities and learning the person. Stop treating people how you want to be treated and treat people how they want to be treated. Oh man, this is deep. How to win friends and influence people. Let's get into it, guys. I mean, I'm telling you, Pastor Sean, the first module here, part 1, it's just fundamental techniques in handling people. If you want to gather honey, don't kick over the beehive. Mm-hmm. This first chapter was loaded. And he starts off with the idea that no one wants to take responsibility. So we're going to start there. And guys, you'll understand, audience, why we're going here first. But no one wants to take responsibility for their character defects. Pastor Sean, nobody wants to take responsibility for their bad attitudes. Nobody wants to take responsibility for their shortcomings. And I want to start off by just asking you, how do you deal with that on a daily basis? And then we got to talk about what our responsibility is to people, because they don't want to take responsibility. How did you feel about when you were reading that?
So let me just go back to the beginning. Okay. I'm so glad you asked me this question. You know, in the beginning, Adam didn't take responsibility in the garden. So it all began in the beginning, you know, when God told him not to eat from the tree, right? And then his wife ate from the tree and she gave it to him, because when she ate, nothing happened. And he tells God, you know, the woman you gave me, she's responsible for me eating this fruit. And so quite naturally, you see, thousands of years later, people are still not taking responsibility. My motto is, my response is my responsibility. I'm not responsible for what you do. I'm responsible for how I respond to what you do. So in life, it's a choice on how you respond to any situation. Can I just say this? Benjamin Franklin, I wrote it down. He says, fools criticize, condemn, and complain, but it takes character and self-control to be understanding and forgiving and take responsibility for your actions. I thought that was powerful.
Man, this thing starts off with a home run. You know, Pastor Durden, 99 times out of 100, people don't criticize themselves for anything, no matter how wrong they may be. And so we're just talking about the fact that I want our viewers to understand this. We're all human, and most people rationalize their errors. They don't blame themselves for anything. So the point of this segment is that criticism is poison. Criticism is futile, because it just puts a person on the defensive, and it usually makes them strive to justify themselves. It says criticism is dangerous because it wounds a person's precious pride. I see that every day. Every day. It hurts their sense of importance, and it rouses resentment. Oh, I felt it every day. So I'm learning so much from this. So Pastor Durden, I ask you, how do you feel about this dynamic of, because people don't take responsibility, you can't criticize them, but we should be criticizing them anyway? What say you?
Absolutely. This certainly sheds light on things that you may not even be paying attention to with the words that you speak out of your mouth. We're so easy and quick to judge people, to criticize people, to talk about what they did do, what they didn't do, if they didn't do it right. And so when that happens, it becomes poison, when we maliciously criticize people for their shortcomings. And if the truth be told, you know, if somebody opened your back closet and found some skeletons in there, that, you know, some of us just hadn't been exposed for some things that, you know, our shortcomings, but we're quick to criticize. We're quick to put people down, you know, whether they own up to it or not. It's, you know, God is the only judge. And I think that if we always come from a place of love, you know, the Bible says love is patient, love is kind. And so if we always come from a place of love, we'll find ourselves not criticizing people, but showing compassion, showing kindness, showing love, because the fact of the matter is we haven't arrived. We're not perfect. And so the words that we say impact the lives of others. And if we choose to come from a place of love, then we'll be better off with the impact that we make on others.
Good stuff. Good stuff. Let's come full circle. Dr. Leon, you know, there's something here about, the resentment that criticism engenders, and how criticism can demoralize employees and family members and friends. Guys, we got to understand this. We're all leaders here, and we're all attracting more leaders to serve. People are being assigned to us. Now watch this on page 6. So George Johnston was the safety coordinator at a plant. And one of his responsibilities, Sharita, was to make sure that employees simply wear their hard hats whenever they're on the job. Okay? And whenever he came across a worker that was not wearing their hard hat for safety, he would tell them, get this, with a lot of authority, he would tell them of the regulations that they must comply to. I can relate to that. But as a result, he would get a sullen acceptance, fancy words, for people, probably putting on their hats, but can't wait for him to go away so they can take it back off and talk about it and full of resentment, right? But he learned, and I just want you to talk to this. As a result, right, he learned that he found that the key was this. He would then come up to his workers and he would ask them, are your hats uncomfortable? Is it possible that they don't fit properly? Maybe it's because of the temperature. Does it get really hot when you have them on? And he reminded the men with a pleasant tone of voice that it was designed to protect them. And so I just want you to speak to not just that example of how he got compliance when he cared more about why they weren't wearing the hats, and he got compliance when he changed his tone. I want you to speak about that as a professional, what this means to you, and how do you see this as effective?
Absolutely. A lot of times, especially if you're someone with a personality that's really authoritative, you just tell people what to do because you want a particular outcome. But when you switch everything up and you share from a place of concern for someone else, people are more open to hear what you have to say. Well, let me, what? I never asked you, does it hurt your head? Like, is there a reason why you're not doing this? If I can make something about you and make you feel empowered while saying yes, then things change because now, okay, well, this person actually cares about me. They're not just trying to tell me what to do. And sometimes there are just people that are defiant. Like, who is he anyway? He can't tell me what to do. And they're going to just do what they want. But if I now come to you with honor and respect, now you're going to more so hear what I have to say. It's the same thing with women. If a woman's smart, she knows how to make sure she, well, I know what I want already, but I'm going to go ahead and swerve it a little way, make him feel like he's making a decision, right? And so it's how it goes. If you're able to do something to where the person feels as if they're being empowered, they're making a decision, and you actually care, they're most likely going to say yes and listen to you.
Oh, okay. So that's how women do it. Very good. We learn a lot at the National Book Club. If you're just paying attention, you can learn the secrets of other genders. Now, Pastor Sean, let me come back to you. Okay. And I want to ask you something that I think is really, really powerful. Through this lesson of non-criticism, this is what I'm getting from it. It's when you criticize someone, it's self-gratifying. Mm-hmm. It's just serving your own ego. It's just healing your pain. Mm-hmm. So I would see that many leaders, whether it was Lincoln and others, when commanders and chiefs, when they dropped the ball, like Lincoln actually wrote a letter, and I think it was his wise wife that didn't mail it. But I'm thinking about the satisfaction he got writing this letter. Even though he was like poetic with his criticism and discipline, it probably still would have made the person who got it feel bad. And I just want you to talk to the dynamic that's not really in the book, but it's psychology. How maybe you should write a letter. Maybe you should write the email, just don't send it. Mm-hmm. Because you're getting out of your system a desire to criticize and show your frustration, disappointment, and anger, but it does no good for the other person to receive it. Mm-hmm. So maybe you need to do the exercise and then rip it up, right? So, I mean, can you talk to that psychology of that? It's just so deep how you're only going to damage the person by them receiving it. And if you're getting gratitude out of that, then you really got to check your character and your personality.
Well, I believe that hurting people hurt others. And so it is an excellent way to type things. I remember one day I was upset with my husband and I was on that computer. I mean, I was pecking away. And I happened to be at work and one of my coworkers was like, Dawn, what you doing on that computer? I mean, it was probably like 5 pages long. I was pecking. I never sent it to him. I just want you to know that. But probably if I sent it to him, we would be divorced because I was letting him have it. Okay. And he's here. So he's listening to me right now. He doesn't even know the story, but I was lighting his fire. I mean, I was so mad. I don't even remember what I was mad about, but I remember pecking those keys. But it was amazing that it was therapeutic for me. That after I released it, I was like, woosah. And then I was able to take a step back so I can take 2 steps forward. Because, see, our tongue is like poison sometimes, and we can kill a person with our tongue. And so I was able to really regroup and have a healthy conversation and get out of my head, get out of my emotions, and be able to talk about what I was feeling about. So it's healthy, it's therapeutic sometimes to not even talk about it, just write it. And that's why so many people back in the day, people had diaries and journals. And journals are healthy for you because it helps you to reflect on what's really going on. And when you read that thing a week later, it was like, darn, I was feeling like that. It wasn't even all that bad.
And that's so powerful because, you know, you reflect back and you say, I'm glad I didn't send it. And so as we keep moving around, and I just come back to you, Pastor Durden, you know, you hear how, you know, Pastor Sean worked her way through that. And I want you to speak to character. Because as I'm reading this book, it's saying, you know, hey, does anyone know someone who would like to change and regulate their lives and improve their characters? And, you know, the answer is we all know someone. And Mr. Carnegie said, well, begin with yourself. So I'm saying that there's a big difference between writing the letter and being therapeutic and sending it and causing maybe, you know, the ills of criticism and even harm. I think it takes character, self-control. That's what it says here, to be understanding and forgiving. So I want to ask you, as we're dealing with people, this is the essence of this, we're not dealing with a logical creature. We're dealing with creatures of emotion, right? Male and female alike. So what do you think it takes to build up the character and the self-control to be understanding and forgiving in the midst of the storm? You know, where you can make the difference between a therapeutic exercise and actually sending that thing off, or actually calling that person, or actually, you know, dealing with that person in a rough way of criticism, stinging criticism, as it says here. What do you think the key is to that personal growth?
I think part of it is humility. Just being able to humble yourself, to get your ego out of the way, and to humble yourself to say, you know what, I'm angry, I'm upset, you know, some things have happened, but I'm going to step back and take care of me. I'm not going to judge anybody else. I'm not going to blame anybody else. I'm not going to play the victim in this situation, but I am going to take a step back, evaluate the situation. I'm not going to hastily respond, but I am, first of all, going to take responsibility for whatever my part is in this situation, and I'm going to act responsibly. I'm going to act responsibly, not let my emotions run away with me, because it's easy for us to let our emotions run away with us. We take offense, our feelings get hurt, we become emotional, and so things blow up out of control. And you know, we don't even know what the original problem was, because now our emotions have escalated, and then one thing plays on another. But if we can just get our egos out of the way, stay humble, and look and take the perspective of, you know what, I'm going to do the right thing. This time I'm going to do the right thing. And so even if it is writing a letter and not sending it, even if it is just talking it over with a girlfriend and just getting it out, a lot of times it's just getting it out. And once you get it out, you feel so much better, and you gain a new perspective about it. But when we act in haste and when we let our egos get in the way, that's when we have trouble.
Right. Gabrielle Lee says, yes, we must humble ourselves and hear them out and act responsible. Gabrielle gonna comment anytime Pastor Durden say something, boy. She write a long sentence when her girl get up there and talk. Okay, that's what it's all about. I ain't mad at you, Gab. Now here's the thing. Sharita Leon. Remember the story, like I want you to speak to this psychology. Make it clear for the people. So, the young engineer fills the jet up with jet fuel instead of gasoline. So now this 5-star general is on a casual fly of his historical jet from the World War II, and he's got 3 passengers. And because there's jet fuel in there, big mistake. He loses control and he has to do a crash landing. Everybody's safe, and so the young engineer is panicking because he knows this 5-star general is about to give him a tongue lashing and probably going to get him fired. And the general says, instead of scolding the mechanic, he didn't even criticize him. Instead, he put his big arm around the man's shoulder and said, to show you that I'm sure that you'll never do this again, I want you to service my F-51 tomorrow. That is high-level leadership. That's high-level leadership. And I want to ask you what you think about that really quick. And then I'm going to ask you another question that I want everybody to speak to. What do you think about that type of leadership right there, Sharita?
That's powerful. And, to me, when I hear that, it's similar to like, having a father's love and really being able to see how love conquers all rather than trying to scold someone, and how he could have told him how, ridiculous he was and pretty much fired him. But understanding the power of reassurance, speaking life into him, believing in him. That belief is so powerful. When you can believe in someone and speak into who they not currently are, but who they are going to be, it helps them grow. It's like when the angel came to Gideon and he talked to him about, hey, great man of valor. He's looking like, who are you talking to? I know you can't be talking to me. But in that, he was able to speak that into his life and then create, an army of a small few, but do some powerful things. And so with that leadership, to be able to speak to someone's heart and affirm who they really are, it allows them to say, you know what? I can't let you down now. I can't let you down because you believe too much in me. And so that is truly powerful by being able to believe and speak life into someone else.
I just noticed your fancy garb that you got on. Are you going to is there an opera in on Broadway tonight? Is something good?
Absolutely, yes. As soon as this show is over, I'm heading right over there in
My
the snowstorm.
my goodness, you clean up nice. Now
Thank
look,
you.
here's my next question, and I want to pose this to all 3 of you because I know that all 3 of you are parents. And when I was reading Father Forgets, I just thought that was so powerful, right? And especially about the concept of habits. So when the father does, I'll let you guys speak to it if you caught that part. And at the end, the father says, what has habit been doing to me? Like a habit of criticizing, a habit of condemning. Man, we got people who grew up in households like that, and I had a very authoritative father figure who really was more into the habit of making you great as opposed to appeasing to your talents. And I can remember tremendous amount of criticisms, and I think it was a habit, and habits of finding fault and habits of reprimanding. Oh, this is so deep. But the exercise that he read to his son while his son was sleeping, that's if we can move quickly, Sharita as a parent, Pastor Durden as a parent, Pastor Sean, how do you guys feel about, can you relate to his experiences with his son throughout that 24-hour period, and then the guilt and the concept of this being habitual? Well, what do you say to that for the viewers who've never heard it?
That's powerful. I know, like for my daughter in particular, one of her love languages is the words of affirmation. So she loves to be praised. If you give her a compliment, she's like out of this world, super excited, can conquer the world. And so being able to learn to admonish her and be able to, make her feel good by, literally praising her at all times, it gets to the end result. Now, for me, it takes a conscious thought to do that, because for me growing up, I come from a Caribbean family. And so they are very, let's just say that they could be some really harsh sometimes, but they do it in love. Even when they're joking with you, even when they're trying to, prove a point, it could be very, tough to receive. So for me, breaking the habit of how I may have been raised to create a new habit for my daughter and to be conscious of how she receives love and how I can empower her to do what I need to get done is really powerful. So it takes that conscious interrupt to be able to, one, focus on how is she going to receive this,
Right.
and then two, how can I be better from it?
Right. Tammy?
Speaking from a perspective of being a single parent. So I know many people, many women have been single mothers. And from my past and growing up, I'm very thankful I had a great support system. But sometimes when you're a single mom, especially a young single mom, I became a single mother at the age of 16. And so I had my daughter very young. I was a teen mom. And so juggling being a mom, a teenager, a mom, um, finishing high school, going on to college, working full time, school full time, all of these things. And so there came a time where I found myself just constantly, I would scold my daughter, stop this, don't do this, you didn't write, da, 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 without even, because I had this school over here, I had work over here, I had ministry over here. And so I can so relate to this story because I found myself just constantly at her without realizing. And, it came to a point where I had to realize it because she broke down and cried and say, Mom, I'm trying my best. I'm about to get emotional, but she said, I'm trying my best. And so when that was brought to my attention, I'm like, oh my God, what, not even realizing it. That's my daughter. I loved her. I didn't want any harm to come to her. But sometimes we can get so caught up with life, and we don't even realize the damage that we're doing. And so it's just so awesome to, when you can realize that, to turn it around. And I'm very thankful that I've had the opportunity to heal from that. She's healed from it. We turn around with best friends. And so it's not always intentional, but it happens. But the good news is that it doesn't always have to stay that way.
Oh man, it's real here. I'm telling you guys, the T.O.P. book club, you might get laughter, you might get tears. Let them flow, ladies. It's all real emotions. It'll increase our viewership. Cry, laugh. It's all good, but we feel you. We feel you. Dr. Atkins, can you relate to this?
Well, mine is kind of the opposite. So when my kids were growing up, I understood affirmation, the power of affirmation, and really just finding the good. It was when my kids got older, I'm embarrassed to say, that I became very critical. And and they had to check me. Let me just say that. And so I can identify with this father because, for the simple fact, when they were younger, there were times where I dropped the ball. There were times when I was critical, but I tried to find the good in them. And when they got older, it's just a different day. You don't parent the same way your parents parent. And so I remember even my daughter, her having the choice of being an actress and being supportive, but sometimes I really wasn't supportive. It wasn't until I came into TABA that you realize that, and started reading, leaders read, and understanding, a job. You say, come on, you need a job, you need to get benefits, things like that. And I had to make that conscious interruption and encourage her to grow. And now I'm seeing doors opening for her because she feels the support. She was shutting down. She was moving away from me because this is the career that she chose. And my responsibility as her parent is to take the time and be supportive to her. And so growing up, I was very supportive, giving them those affirmations. My parents didn't do that, but they weren't critical of me. But when they became older, it kind of shifted. And I think the root of that was fear. So, when I identified the root of it, I was able to be supportive.
Man, that is so heavy. Listen, first of all, I want to thank all three of you. Tammy Durden, what you just shared, especially Patrick, because you're talking about your real life. You're talking about your precious, your children, and we have a lot of fun. But to be vulnerable and insightful and transparent, I mean, that's just honorable to our show. And I just hope people are hearing this and they can apply it to maybe their situations. That's right, Cassandra Busky. This is awesome. Don't forget to hit me up on PayPal and Cash App. All right, listen, here's the deal. This book is called How to Win Friends and Influence People. Zacchaeus says, thank you all for your transparency and conscious transformation. Much gratitude. That's what we're here for. That's what we are here for. Now, again,
Were you
listen,
exercising the chapter we just read just now?
exactly. You see, I thought it, but I didn't say it. Okay, how to win friends and influence people. No, listen. This is life. I don't believe that we are born to be alone in any way, shape, or form. And that's network marketing, right? It's pretty powerful. I mean, it's about developing yourself to a point where you can attract and serve those that are assigned to you and that you are assigned to this great collective. And it's a constant flow of winning friends. People join our teams for money. They join our teams to lose weight, for health transformation, for financial freedom, but they stay on this tough journey because of the feeling, because of the bonds and the friendships, and we have to influence people. And so this book is everything. And this first chapter ends with, instead of condemning people, let's try to understand them. And that's our children, our friends, our relationships, our business partners, people we work with, our church folks. Let's try to figure out why they do what they do. That's a lot more profitable for everyone and intriguing than criticism. And it breeds sympathy, tolerance, and kindness. To know all is to forgive all. So God does not propose to judge man until the end of days, the end of his days, her days. So why should we, right? And so I just think that's a very compelling way to close that out. That was fire. That was awesome. And we have enough time to tackle the second aspect, the second chapter, the big secret of dealing with people. Let's start with you, Pastor Durden. The big secret to dealing with people, page 17. This is the second element of how to win friends and influence people. And, we're talking about what's harboring in people's hearts. And so, ladies and gentlemen, if you're watching this, these book clubs will change your life. They'll make you into masters. And what this is saying right here, it's saying, find out what's important to a person. Find out what's the why for a person. Most people, do you agree with this, Pastor Durden, that most people, their deepest urge in their nature is the desire to be important one way or another? Speak to that if you can. What do you think about that?
Well, I absolutely think that's true. People want to feel important. People want to feel appreciated. Life brings about so many different things, and it's not often that people receive criticism more than they receive appreciation. You can go above and beyond. You can be loyal and committed, and you can show up every day, whether it's at your job, whether it's even in ministry. You can go out above and beyond, show up every day, do everything right, and seldom receive appreciation or be shown gratitude for the value that you add. And so people just want to feel important. They want to feel appreciated. They want to feel loved. And oftentimes that's lacking because we're not careful to appreciate those who add value to our lives, those who go above and beyond. So I think that's very true, that people do want to feel important. They want to feel appreciated.
Sharita, thank you. Sharita, there's only one way under the heavens to get anybody to do anything. Did you ever stop to think of that? Just one way. Sharita, they say that way is by making the other person want to do it. You know, it sounds so logical, but it's not about forcing someone or punishing someone or threatening someone or giving someone ultimatums or bullying someone. All these tricks. They're saying listen to this, ladies and gentlemen. The only way to get anyone to do anything is by making that person want to do it. And I think this is so powerful. So what did you get, Sharita, when you read this? The only way I can get you to do anything is by giving you what you want, is another way of putting it. I mean, it's this reciprocal dynamic of servant leadership. But you can't be shallow with this. You can't be on the surface with this. You got to get deep into this person you're connected to, find out what they want and how you can align that with what you want them to do. I mean, there's work to this, to influencing a person and moving a person to action. How did you feel when you were reading this? What do you think?
I think that's powerful because, like we teach all the time, is about finding someone's pain point and being able to bring a solution. And so when you're able to help someone find themselves in a better way of living or creating a new picture for them, it gives them more hope to actually seeing it come to fruition. And so really in life, it's all about having the art of persuasion. That's really what it is. And when you can persuade someone that they can live a better lifestyle, when you can persuade someone to do what they want to do, whether they know they want to do it or not, you win in that, because one, that person comes out better. You end up getting what you wanted in the first place. And so really it's all a game. Life is a game, but if you know how to play it to where everyone wins, everybody's happy. So for me, I see it as this: if I can help you see what you really want, and if I can phrase it in such a way where it's believable for you, you'll get it done. And that's just what that is.
And everybody wants something. You know, as
Right.
I'm reading this, I had to be honest with myself. On page 18, there's about 8 things that they say everybody wants. But then as he just goes, it's basically this feeling of importance. I can relate to that. I mean, if I had to be truly honest, I read that, I say, he says the deepest urge in a human being is a desire to be important. I said, yeah. Yeah, that's how it's gonna feel, going double diamond, and helping people go diamond. I mean, man, how often are we able to be honest like that? I think that is very, very true. You want to feel that you've done something significant, that maybe you've done something important. And so let me ask you, but really quick, 2 seconds, Sharita, what do you want? 2 seconds.
I want to impact lives around the world and make multiple
So
millions of
cliche.
dollars. I
So
want to be.
no, and I'll come back to you. I'll
You
come back.
ask me what I
No,
want.
I'm
I'm
gonna
gonna
come
tell you
back.
what I
I'm gonna come
want.
back
Don't
to you.
ask me what I
No,
want.
I'm gonna come back to you because that was Les Brown 101. Tammy, what do you want? Get raw. What to tell the world?
I want to go diamond.
Okay. What do you want, Pastor Sean?
I
Right.
want to be wealthy, go diamond, and be wealthy.
Okay. I mean, we're all a little cliche, but that one was too scripted, Sharita. I'm coming back to you. Tell me right now.
That's
Yeah,
the
this
truth.
is too perfect. What do you want? Just what do you feel? What do you really want? What
I
Sharita
want
want?
millions of dollars, a lot of impact. I want to be in love with an amazing husband. I want to have twins. I want to live in a beautiful
Okay.
mansion. I want to have a body that, people look at and be like, oh my gosh, like that's what I want. I'm going to keep going now.
Okay, now I like that though. That was real. That got real now. Did you feel it? It got real. Okay, so I just want to save the world and and tap dance on the moon. No, but that was real. Okay, and I mean we all can feel that. I mean, this is kind of deep because basically, that's what this whole chapter is about, ladies and gentlemen. This chapter is about trying to understand that everybody has a desire to be important. Everybody has a desire to be recognized. And he uses a word called craving, Pastor Sean. He says that people have a craving to be appreciated. And I'm so proud of our organization. Haven't we naturally moved into this space? I won't even go there too heavy right now. That'll be our secret. But people have a craving to be appreciated. And, let's talk about it, Pastor Sean. It's not really a question. He says here, I put a big bullet here. If you tell me how you get your feelings of importance, I'll tell you who you are. I'll be able to determine your character. So, how did you feel reading all this as a leader, someone in clergy responsible for thousands, a big executive here at Tava? What did this mean to you?
I thought about solving a problem and serving a need. That was what immediately came to my mind. And that's what we should be doing as leaders. I also thought about Mr. Kenny Lloyd. And, when I was listening to his speech on yesterday about, influencing people and really compassionate and caring, kind of like that father figure about people in this organization, it was very touching to me. So as a pastor, we understand that one, we're influencing people, and you've got to learn how to be empathetic to people. You've got to know where people are coming from. We come from all walks of life with different kinds of experiences. And so when you give people what they want, what they need, they can give you what they need. I want to just say this, even in marriage, oftentimes what happens in marriage, it's one or two people, persons that are selfish. And because you are selfish and not willing to give the person what they need, that's why so many marriages end up in divorce, because people are withholding and they don't want to give. It's give and take, being willing to know what their need is. It's understanding that love language that Sharita talked about.
So powerful. Let's swing this around to Tammy and Sharita. I want to hear from you guys. Just let's move a little bit quicker. We got, just a little bit more, but we got to touch on this. I just want the viewers to understand where we are right now. We're at a space where you have to identify what makes your friend, your relationship, your business partner, your colleague, what gives them a sense of importance. They were saying the gentleman had the hogs, and he would take his hogs to the fair, and they would win all the ribbons. The hogs didn't care about the ribbons, but you better understand, human beings, we're going to take those ribbons home and put them everywhere, and every guest that comes into the house, they're going to get a story about the ribbons. Like, we have to understand this, and it's so, so important. So understand people's feelings of importance. It's so powerful. I got two different questions for you. I'm going to ask you this first, Pastor Durden, how you feel about this. Some authorities declare that people might actually go insane. Get this. People may actually go insane in order to find in the dreamland of insanity a feeling of importance. Now, this was not some cliche that he just wrote. He had medical experts talk about different explanations from physiology to why people go insane. But then there's a mystery of mental illness that many have not discovered yet. And there's more people suffering from mental illness disease in the United States than any other diseases combined. What is the cause of insanity? I mean, what did you think when you read about that some people are living a life that's so harsh in this cold world? From childhood to adulthood, no one's cared what was important to this person. No one's showered that person with edification and love or recognition. Okay. And because that person never had a feeling of importance, they literally went insane. And in their insanity, they created a world where they were important. Does that not tell you how important this is to recognize? What did you feel when you read that, Pastor Durden?
I believe some people just have a breaking point. You come to a point where, you know what, I just can't take anymore. And so in order to get that feeling that I want, if it means I need to check out and live an imaginary life, we see the homeless people all the time in Houston. We have a lot of homeless people, and some of those people that are homeless, these were previous lawyers, doctors, all types of people that are living on the street, but they came to that breaking point. They just came to the breaking point where they weren't getting what they needed, to the extreme of just mentally checking out and rather living an alternative lifestyle, whether it's, living on the street, or whether it is mentally insane and just living a fabricated life because it became so heavy, not getting what they needed. And it's real. It's real.
Thank you so much. Sharita, as we get ready to wrap up, there's one more compelling point here, and we're talking about everyone who wants to be great. You have to learn how to deal with people. Charles Schwab, I believe, was the first American in corporate America to receive $1 million a year salary given to him by Andrew Carnegie as they were dealing with U.S. Steel. And when they interviewed Andrew Carnegie, or excuse me, Charles Schwab, when Dale Carnegie interviewed him, Charles Schwab said, he didn't give me $1 million a year because I knew how to manufacture steel. He didn't give me $1 million a year because I knew more about, the nuances of steel. He said, no. He said, I was paid this salary largely because of my ability to deal with people. And I want to read two things that he said. The first man to make $1 million a year in salary. And I want you to speak on it. Okay. First of all, this is Charles Schwab. He said, I consider my ability to arouse, this is like poetically powerful. I consider my ability to arouse enthusiasm among my people the greatest asset I possess. And the way to develop the best that is in a person is by appreciation and encouragement. That's what he said. And then he said one more thing. There is nothing else that so kills the ambitions of a person than criticism from superiors. I never criticize anyone. I believe giving a person incentive to work, so I'm anxious to praise, but loath to find fault. And him and Carnegie praise people publicly and privately. How do you feel about that as we get ready to wrap up?
It's powerful. It's powerful because once again, if you make somebody feel good, they'll do whatever you tell them to do. Whether you tell them to do it or not, they're going to want to do it because it makes them feel good. There are people that have never been, praised by their family. There are some people that I know personally that have never heard their parents say, I love you. So there are people that are yearning for this acceptance, yearning to feel like, wow, I can do something. And so if you can use your ability, your words, the same tongue that we have that speaks life, speaks death also. But if we can choose to speak life over someone and to create that story to make them feel good, they're going to do that whatever you're asking them to do. So for me, I'm growing and learning I've always been like an edifier. Like I've always been someone that's encouraged people, but seeing even the more how that really impacts people's lives. And so using our words to make people feel good and show appreciation, find out what their love language is so that when you know how to make them feel good, studying people, understanding their whys, understanding what makes them rise to the occasion is powerful. And that takes real leadership.
I hope you viewers around the world and other countries and other planets are getting this. Everybody who's chiming in. Shelley says that's so true. Pastor Durden, Pastor Sean, closing remarks on this masterpiece, this bestseller, How to Win Friends and Influence People by Dale Carnegie. Cassandra Busky says, most people just want to please you. Praise goes a long way. Yes, praise and appreciation, honest appreciation, not surface flattery where you're just feeding a person's ego, but true, sincere, honest appreciation is amazing. As we close out chapter 1 and chapter 2, what are your closing remarks, Pastor Durden? And then Pastor Sean.
Absolutely. I think that is just so important for us to be mentally conscious, to guard the words that we speak. Are we building someone up? Or are we tearing them down? Are we tearing them down with criticism? Or are we building them up with positive words? As you just said, not flattery, because flattery is counterfeit, it's fake. Everybody knows when they're being put on or when it's fake and those types of things. But sincere appreciation, sometimes it's not what you say, but how you say it. And so how we make the certain comments to people, all of these things play a part in it. And so if we can just be consciously aware of the words we say, how we treat people, seek to understand, and then we can begin to build better relationships with others.
Absolutely. Time flies when you're having fun. Uh, Pastor Sean, would you like to share?
Well, one of the things that we've mastered, I believe, at TOP is edification. And, in this, I've learned in my own life in ministry to edify people, and I'm getting so much more accomplished. And so, I say to anyone who's out there listening to me, you get to make a shift. If you're a parent and you're constantly finding fault in your child, or maybe a spouse who's constantly criticizing your spouse, you get to change. You get to start using words of affirmation. You get to be powerful and bold, and watch the transformation that will begin to happen.
Yeah, ladies and gentlemen, criticism. Uh, it doesn't work. You know, we have to find other ways to inspire, and we have to praise people, and we have to inspire them. I'll tell you, this book is very important to those who are really looking to advance in their character and their leadership and their ability to make an impact on other people's lives. We always say it, extend your hand and make an impact on someone else's life tomorrow. And these tools will help you do that. You can do it with a word, you can do it with a gesture, you can do it with compassion, you can do it with empathy, you can do it with just caring. Just care more. Help enough people get what they want, and by default, you will get what you want. So thank you for watching. This was another magnificent episode. On behalf of this Mastermind Alliance and on behalf of all of TOP, we say thank you. We will be back next week. God bless each and every one of you. And we just pray this episode was a blessing for you. Okay? We are out of here.